We recently got our first look at the #1 Sentai Gozyuger, and I'm sure we're all decently stoked about what this new Sentai season will bring us. Some of us are intrigued by the overall concept, some of us are excited about the return of the animal theme, but I'd say a decent amount of us are also quite excited for the return of the color green among the Ranger ranks. For a brief period of time, Sentai had been absent of the color green as a main Ranger color, and it's a relief for many to see it make a comeback. That got me thinking though, just how important is color distribution for Ranger team compositions? Well, the answer is very, and that's what I want to go into today. It's been a while since I've made a video like this, but today I want to talk about the role of color in the Super Sentai franchise. So let's color up and get to it. Now, this video may be somewhat similar to the video I made on Kamen Rider colors several months ago, but the reason it's not going to be a carbon copy of that video is that the role of color is very different in Kamen Rider. For Rider, where the role of the hero is mostly designated to just a few characters, color becomes important in representing the series as a whole and the franchise for that year. The very notion of Rider is that the main Rider, who shares the name of the airing season, will utilize several distinguishing characteristics, including color, to stand out among the rest of their Rider alumni. For Sentai, color diversity is practically a given. There's a pretty set formula for the way that Sentai sets up its color spread, and over the years that has relatively stayed consistent. There are standout teams that challenge the traditional color conventions, but we tend to see some recurring roles that each color plays in the Ranger team. Let's start out with the most obvious one, red. Red is the leader in most cases, with the significant exception being Zenkaiser, for example. But over the years, it's a given that the Red Ranger will be the leader of the team and the face of the franchise. It is objectively the most consistent Ranger color, as every team is going to need a leader. Across Sentai and other franchises, red is often seen as a leadership color anyways. Red represents things like passion, energy, power, and speaking in terms of elements, fire. I think red is used so often because it's a bright beacon among the rest of the colors that commands attention while embodying strength and courage. While not every red has the same personality, they all innately share these characteristics, which makes them worthy of wearing this color that burns so brightly. The next color that is fairly standard for Ranger teams is blue. While there are many exceptions, I would say that this color is often used as the team's second in command. As another main primary color, it plays a strong role in the Ranger team's characteristic composition, but also its visual composition. Blue plays a great opposite to red, adding a cool water element to red's fire. And it makes sense. Blue represents things like honesty, sincerity, intelligence, empathy, which is also needed on every Ranger team. For most of the franchise, blue was delegated to another male ranger, but there are many teams which have female blues, something else that people wish to see a resurgence in. The next two colors are also some of your staple shades, with a variety in treatment and interpretation, yellow and pink. In the more mid to later seasons, yellow and pink were pretty easily placed as the female rangers on the team. While pink maintained relative consistency as the female designation, yellow has definitely had a bit more of an alternating treatment. In the earlier seasons, yellow was quite often delegated to another male ranger, which sounds progressive to some, but it's also usually because they only had one female ranger on their team, and they were of course pink. I remember when Ninja Storm came around, there's a lot of surprise to see that the gender roles were switched between yellow and blue, and I think a lot of that really comes from the inherent stereotypes and associations we have with each color, specifically gender. An easy example is how most gender reveals are done, with blue representing a boy and pink representing a girl. These colors, of course, are not restricted to being labeled as such, and Sentai has really done a lot to challenge this notion, whether intentionally or not. One area where progress is not as striking, however, is with the Pink Ranger. Pink is most always designated as the female ranger, and in pop culture, it's pretty commonly associated with femininity anyways. But as we've seen with Dawn Brothers, there's a possibility that we may see another male Pink Ranger in the future. I would say that these are some of the most consistent colors among the Ranger teams, with others experiencing some interesting variations in appearance and significance. The next color or colors I'd like to talk about have a bit of a shared role, and those colors are green and black. Now, why do these colors have a shared role in my opinion? Well, with these two colors, I think it's easy to see that either one or the other is chosen to be included on the team. Of course, teams like Go-Onger and Q-Ranger are exceptions, but in most cases, green and black will alternate their appearances on teams. And I think it's because they share somewhat similar characteristics in different ways, specifically as Earth and nature representatives. They have different methods of depicting power, and I think their inclusion says more about the team itself and what they want to represent. So we've gone over the colors that generally make up the core team of Rangers. What about 6th Rangers? Well, that's kind of an interesting topic in itself. Our first ever 6th Ranger was Dragon Ranger, and he was a Green Ranger. These days, you expect to see a 6th as some shiny color, gold or silver or something else maybe, and that really is to push forth the fact that these Rangers are indeed more special from the rest of them. The fact that we started with the 6th Ranger's color as one we've had before is always so intriguing to me, but it makes sense though. Not every 6th has to be this dazzling color. It's honestly really refreshing to see when a Sentai doesn't use silver or gold, which I think most of us can agree is kind of a cop-out. But the 6th Ranger is an opportunity to add an even greater dash of personality and diversity to our existing Ranger pool, so the color choice is always a hot topic. That wraps up this portion where I want to dive into the role and importance of what most Ranger colors usually mean in the context of their teams. Unlike my Kamen Rider colors video, I don't really think there's going to be a point in tallying up each number to see who comes out on top. Spoiler alert, it's gonna be red. However, I think there is still merit in tallying up total colors, but with a different intention. Let's go over each Ranger team's color composition and point out some interesting factoids about their color schemes. Then, let's look at the percentages of each color's representation across the franchise to see if we can look at the top 5 and make a prediction for our next Sentai team's colors. Now, I'll be picking apart each team to see which colors are represented. Mostly this is going to be one Ranger per color, but there are some seasons that are going to throw me a bone with 2 reds or a multicolored Ranger or something. So instead of quantifying how many Rangers possess this color, I'm going to quantify it as whether or not this team includes this color overall. So for those cases where there are multiple colors, I'll count them as 1. I'm mainly going to look at the core team plus 6 and officially designated additional Rangers. We've got a lot to go through, so let's kick it off with Go Ranger, with a standard distribution of red, blue, yellow, pink, and green. This is a pretty standard spread that will ease into normality soon, but not that soon, because next is Jacka, who immediately goes full freak mode with red, blue, pink, green, and white. I say full freak mode because Big One's inclusion already becomes a bit unconventional, but I suppose that's nothing compared to Battle Fever J, with a team of red, blue, black, pink, and orange. Suit and helmet designs aside, this spread is pretty wild and would start to fall into more of a standardized distribution after this, with Denji Man, with a spread of red, blue, yellow, pink, and green. Another standard spread identical to Go Ranger too. After, we'll start to see which colors are most important to Sentai, where they can only choose 3 via Sun Vulcan, with a team of red, blue, and yellow. I remember being so surprised that Ninja Storm introduced a core team of only 3 Rangers, but really Sun Vulcan established this precedent for many 3 Ranger teams moving forward. After this, we'd see more typical teams with Goggle 5 and Dynaman, who both have the same colored team members with red, blue, black, yellow, and pink. This is a strong color spread, and it's probably one we're all very familiar with due to Zyuranger's adaptation as MMPR. After this, we switch it up slightly with Bioman, who trades out black for green with their full spread of red, blue, yellow, pink, and green. Yes, this is a first case of black and green being interchangeable. After this, we'd see an interesting variation in Changeman, with its team of red, blue, black, pink, and white. Yes, pink and white. Oftentimes, pink and white are interchangeable, as sometimes a White Ranger would have pink accents but still be considered white. But Changeman actually has both of these on one team, something that would be unique, but only up until a certain point. After this, we get Flashy with Flashman, showing us their team of red, blue, yellow, pink, and green. Another standard spread, honestly starting to become the most common distribution of colors. Moving on, we switch it up slightly again with Mask Man, going back to red, blue, black, yellow, and pink. This team does that green-black switcheroo, and then the next one immediately throws a curveball at it with Live Man, with red, blue, black, yellow, and green. It doesn't happen too often, but the inclusion of often interchangeable colors is always really interesting. The next 3 teams we'll see have the exact same spreads with Turbo Ranger, 5-Man, and Jetman, with their teams consisting of red, blue, black, yellow, and pink. This particular combination stands strong as a common choice for team color distributions. The next team, of course, would be the same, but with a catch. Zyuranger, the team we all know and love, consisting of red, blue, black, yellow, pink, and green as their 6th. Zyuranger is of course a landmark series through its introduction of the 6th, and again, I'll always find it interesting that it was a color we were already familiar with. Following suit with a color we were less familiar with, I suppose, was Die Ranger, with a team of red, blue, yellow, pink, green, and white as their 6th. Nothing too crazy here, but I do think Kiba Ranger as a white 6 shows the need for the 6 to be strikingly unique, almost blindingly flashy with its sharp white shade. Up next is Kaku Ranger, with their team of red, blue, black, yellow, and white. This is the first case of switching out pink for white, and it honestly makes sense because I think pink would probably be a bit too loud for a ninja. The next team would be O Ranger, with their team of red, blue, yellow, pink, green, and black as their 6th. Yes, King Ranger is officially a black ranger while Zio considers him gold, but don't worry, we'll see gold soon enough. After this team, we race into Car Ranger, their squad of red, blue, yellow, pink, and green. No 6 here unless you want to count VRV Master as black, then they'd technically be the same as O Ranger, but in any case, standard spread. We keep things normal with Mega Ranger, whose team is composed of red, blue, black, yellow, pink, and silver as their 6th. Most notably, Mega Ranger introduced the first shiny 6 in a long continuing legacy of metallic additional Rangers. After this is Gingaman, with another classic combo of red, blue, green, yellow, pink, and black as their 6th. This would be the second time black is treated as a 6th Ranger color. Then we move into Go-Go 5 with the same color spread as before, red, blue, green, yellow, and pink. And I guess if you count Titanium Ranger, they have a silver 6 too, but I won't for our purposes today. Moving into a unique one, we've got Time Ranger with the same set of colors as before, red, blue, green, yellow, and pink, but with an additional red as their 6th. Thematically, it definitely makes sense as Time Fire was a direct counterpart to Time Red, and it was always so interesting that the distinction for this team's 6 was so subtle. Returning to convention would be Gal Ranger, with their team made up of red, blue, black, yellow, white, and silver as their 6th. This one is nothing too crazy either, it's just the same color spread as Kaka Ranger and would also be the second silver 6th. Shaking things up would be Hurricaneer, with their core team of red, blue, and yellow, their added teammates of crimson and navy blue, and their 6th as a green. This team's composition is so interesting. It's the return of the 3 core combo reflecting the same colors as Sun Vulcan, while also adding 2 new colors that are variants of existing ones, and there's also the return of a green 6th. After this would be something mildly similar, Abba Ranger, with the core team of red, blue, and yellow, adding on black and white afterwards. It feels like Sentai was really liking this smaller core team idea, because we would absolutely see them dive into it way more after this. I think it's also cool that the added Rangers of black and white were completely opposing colors. It's a very striking color combination. Then we have Deca Ranger, with a typical team of red, blue, green, yellow, pink, with white as their 6th, and some sort of lighter blue as Deca Master. I'm not really sure what color to consider him. I almost thought black because of his Shadow Ranger name in SPD, but I think blue is a more accurate representation. It is a unique color addition that we wouldn't really see touched on later. Then we get magical with Magi Ranger, with the family composed of red, blue, yellow, pink, green, and gold as their 6th, and white and another red as additional. This would actually be our first instance of a gold 6, quite natural to come after using silver. We switch things up a bit going into Bolkenger, with the team having red, blue, black, yellow, pink, and silver as their 6th. While there's nothing groundbreaking about this combo, I think it's nice to know that Boken Silver introduces many more colors on his suit than just silver, being orange and purple. We'll shorten the next team a bit with Geki Ranger, revisiting the core team trio with red, blue, and yellow, with violet and white being added Rangers. This season is of course hugely notable for having the first violet/purple Ranger, which we see happen more later on. After this we have Gowanger, whose team consists of red, blue, black, yellow, green, and gold and silver as a shared 6th slot. This one is pretty similar to Hurricaneer in that they have the main trio, but have the other 2 added on as sort of a separate affiliation, with the different changer and suit aesthetic linking them together. And of course, their inclusion of both a gold and silver ranger is always very iconic, especially to Gokai Silver. We return to relative normalcy with Shinkenger, with a team of red, blue, yellow, pink, green, and gold as their 6th. Nothing too crazy about this one at all, except that Shinken Gold, like Boken Silver, introduces a new color accent instead of just being gold and black. Another typical spread would be Gozyuger, with a classic combo of red, blue, black, yellow, pink, and silver as a 6th. Pretty simple, with a lot more going on of course with Gosei Knight. Then we roll into Gokaiger, with another classic feeling team comp of red, blue, yellow, pink, green, and silver as their 6th. While their 6th is silver, they definitely allude to the 6th having many shiny colors by giving him that gold mode as well. Okay, let's take a bit of a breather before we go into our next team, Go Busters, returning to the 3 core Rangers approach with red, blue, yellow, gold, and silver. I think this is an interesting team that uses gold and silver as non-6th, which is what they're usually reserved for. From this modest bunch we roll into Kyoryuger, with an interestingly segmented team of red, blue, pink, green, black, with gold as their 6th, and gray, silver, purple, and cyan as their additional rangers. Kyoryuger worked in a lot of cool colors for their team, with fun colors like cyan and very neutral colors like gray. Plus, they had both gold and silver, which is awesome too. Reducing numbers, we go into Tokyuger, with red, blue, yellow, pink, green, and orange as a 6th. This team brings back Orange from his last appearance in Battle Fever J, and as a 6th Ranger this time, which makes it extra special. Going back into a bit of normalcy, we go into Ninninger, with red, blue, yellow, pink, white, and gold as their 6th. Ninninger puts white and pink on the same team in a non-6 capacity again, last time being with Changeman, and of course gold is pretty standard in a yeehaw type of way. Then we have a bit of a difficult one, Gozyuger with a standard spread of red, blue, yellow, green, white, and a combination for their 6th. Jewel of the World is a combination of gold, black, and silver, but his default helmet is the black rhino, so does he count as black, or does he count as gold, black, and silver? Maybe the latter because he technically represents them all. Anyways, Q Ranger, expanding the core team technically with red, blue, black, yellow, pink, green, gold, silver, orange, purple, sky blue, and another red with Ho-Oh Soldier. This team of course capitalized on the fact that the core team had so many rangers, and they really made sure to make each color feel represented. Great move on their part, really. Expanding numbers in a different way was Lupin Ranger and Pat Ranger, the first season with 2 teams running concurrently, with the first consisting of red, blue, yellow, the second consisting of red, green, pink, and their 6th jumping between gold and silver. This season was a first in many ways, but did a good job covering the main colors we've seen over the years with a creative way to incorporate a 6th ranger on both sides. Then we move into Ryu Soldier with a core of red, blue, pink, green, black, and gold as their 6th. This one was a pretty standard team, implementing the core 3+2 gimmick like many seasons before them. After this is the shiny Kira Major with a team of red, blue, yellow, pink, green, and silver as their 6th. I've talked about 6 introducing new color accents already, but Kirame Silver always stood out to me with that orange accent and blue crystals. Then, intentionally shaking up tradition, we have Zenkaiger being comprised of white, red, yellow, blue, pink, and gold as their 6th. While some teams have had white to be the de facto leader of the team, it's the first time we've had white as the actual leader and face of the team. Marching up next is Dawn Brothers with a team of red, blue, yellow, black, pink, and gold and silver as a 6th and purple as additional. This team has another color shifting 6 with Dondoro Goku and Don Torobolt, and of course was a landmark team in which their Pink Ranger was a male. Way to go, Kija brother. Sort of. Then we have King Oger with the royal team of red, blue, yellow, purple, black, and white as their 6th and gray as additional. It's been a while since it had white as a 6th, and it was awesome to see purple become a regular occurrence. And now we have Boom Boomger with our entire set of red, blue, pink, black, orange, and purple as a 6th. Orange makes a comeback as a core team member, and so does purple, this time as a 6th. This team really does take things for a spin. And looking forward, we have Gozyuger with their starting team of red, blue, black, yellow, and green. So far it's starting exactly like Gozyuger, but what can we expect for the 6th? We'll have to wait and see. And here's the distribution of how often these colors have been represented over all the teams across Sentai's history. If we were to look at the percentages alone, it looks like we can expect the next 5-member team to include red, blue, yellow, pink, and a toss-up between green and black. What do you think we'll see after Gozyuger? Did some of these colors show up more than you thought? Let me know. That's all I have for you today and for the rest of 2024. I want to take a moment to thank every one of you for your fantastic support throughout this year. I did my best to make as much content as I possibly could throughout the year, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of it without you. I'm looking forward to the next year being filled with more fun Toku art and Toku topics to Toku talk about. See you all next time, happy holidays, and happy new year!